Where exactly is the teacher training required?
Yes, we have an entire cycle.
Ancient learning or ancient assessment process?
Everything that we're doing, it has just two objectives. What the teacher training cell is trying to achieve in a nutshell.
Hi Sonal.
Hi, Tuhina.
So we are in conversation today about the fact that you've been associated with the school for a very long time, not just as teacher training lead, but also as head of the English department. So we just wanted to understand from you how has been this particular journey and how long have you been associated into teacher training particularly?
Thank you, Tuhina. Wow, you're making me revisit the time it all started. I have been working with teachers and mostly trying to improve pedagogy across the country for the last 7 years when I got associated with CBSE and subsequently with NCERT. This has been a journey where I feel like empowering the teacher is the best thing we can do for education. And currently at Ramagya, as the lead teacher trainer, my job is to curate the training sessions and sort of create a calendar that works for all teachers. So the vision behind doing this is to impact the classroom transactions in a particular way that sort of ensures that experiential learning and competency-based learning is happening in the classroom, and each and every classroom transaction is aligned to our vision of holistic development and experiential learning. So with that idea, the teacher training cell at Ramagya works.
That's so wonderful. So is there a particular method that you do identify where exactly is the teacher training required, and then how does that transcend into the classroom deliveries?
Yes, we have an entire cycle, and the first step of the cycle is a need analysis. So we work directly with the principal, and we work under the guidance of the principal, and we work directly with the leaders of the school. And what we do is we take a 360-degree feedback. So we ask teachers to fill reflective sheets, we ask HMs and other leaders, head of departments, to give us feedback on classroom observations and what they feel is the need of the hour. More crucial here is to understand that we also keep in mind exactly the kind of impact we want to create in the classroom. Our focus is entirely on developing skills and behavior more than students acquiring knowledge. Knowledge is the first step, but we really want to ensure that students have the right skill set, and in order to do that, we then sort of plan our trainings, whether it is inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, interdisciplinary approach. So these are things that we eventually decide, and then these trainings are decided after a 360-degree feedback has been taken from all stakeholders.
That's wonderful. So, the feedback taking has always been a part. I would say that, ancient learning or ancient assessment process, feedback has been a part. So how do you think that this actually helps today in the innovative teacher learning process?
I would say feedback is the heart of everything that we do at Ramagya. So whether we are at the planning stage or we are at the execution stage where we're delivering an actual training session, or we are observing the impact of a training in a classroom, the idea behind this is to ensure that we are constantly taking feedback and we are aligning trainings for the teacher. So everything that we do is based on a regular feedback, and that is how we sort of customize our trainings depending on the group that we're catering to.
So it is a constant and a progressive process.
Absolutely. It is formative, it is continuous, and it keeps going on.
That's wonderful. Would you just give, I'm literally very curious to understand that what are the things that are getting into this process. So would you just give one example of what are the activities that you're doing in this teaching learning process or teacher training process, whatever you want to pick up?
All right. So I'll talk about the most recent one. The last training that we conducted, which was this month, was on inquiry-based learning. So the way we do it is we have formed a group of teachers and of leaders who are very passionate about pedagogy, who are very passionate about making a difference, and they're very good at what they do. So it is this group of people who first attends this training, and then this group further goes down to different groups and smaller groups that then receive the same training from them. So it is a system which you can say is like train the trainer. So for example, in inquiry based learning, we took, as a group, we went through various types of inquiry, whether it is structured inquiry, guided inquiry, free inquiry. We talked about how different subjects, different areas, different types of assessment and different types of classroom needs can be aligned to this, and
Integrating all the systems.
integrate, exactly. And we the whole reason we wanted to integrate inquiry based learning in our classrooms was because we wanted students to actually look for evidence and justify their own thinking process and reach a conclusion as a group. And the best part about IBL is it integrates everything. It integrates experiential learning, it integrates collaborative learning. So it is a step-by-step process. Other than this, we have been very successful in integrating visible thinking routines developed by Project Zero, Harvard University, in the classrooms, which is a great tool for us to map the way a student thinks. So visible thinking routines have been incorporated in almost all subjects, and what we are trying to do is ensuring that the teacher is able to trace student thinking in real time. The student is able to trace his or her own thinking, and that sort of leads us to a conversation that is very personal, that sort of creates a bond between the teacher and the student, and also develops thinking skills, critical thinking skills, which are essential today.
Yeah, one of the future skills.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of really curious to understand, Sonal, that at this particular young age, you've been working as a CBSE and CRT material developer, subject matter expert. Has that helped you in this, what you're doing?
It would be completely unfair to say that it hasn't, because in fact, it is so strange. This is a system where one hand feeds the other. So I think, when I work with these organizations, I feel my experience as a teacher trainer really helps the kind of materials that I'm developing. There's a reason why I've been able to come this far, or I'm able to successfully deliver the expectations that are kept, or that I need to match, because I have been working as a teacher trainer, and that has given me a lot of experience in exactly what a teacher needs in a realistic scenario. And based on that experience, I'm able to develop materials, author courses, create materials for making NEP something that the teachers are very comfortable with, because I am doing this. And then another aspect of this is all the things that I learn in CBSE and NCERT. I feel it makes me a better teacher trainer. It also makes me understand exactly what training needs are, what the country needs at this point. The surveys that we do, which are at a national level, they give me a great insight as to what are the skills that are missing and that need to be honed at a national level. And I think this is all tied together by the principal of the school, because she really very passionately believes in making an impact in the classroom, and we are just trying to make that vision possible for all the students.
Perfect. Sounds very, very good. Actually, so it's like a 360-degree approach, particularly not just looking at delivering the 21st century skills to the students, but also at the same time training the teachers to be able to deliver those skills, and also, kind of resonates together. So
Absolutely. Yeah. So
360
everything that we're doing, it has just two objectives. One is to make sure that the classroom is so engaging that each and every child feels like being a part of that classroom, feels that they're engaged. And the second aspect is to instill competencies and skills that would help them survive and deal with this disruptive world, as we honestly don't even know what we're preparing our children for in the future. We only know what can we give them so that they're able to deal with it in a better way. And that is exactly what the teacher training cell is trying to achieve in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Sonal, for this warm conversation that we just had. And as we're nearing the end of the conversation, I just have one question for you. What is the one single message that you want to give to a teacher of today?
Tuhina, I really feel that's a really big responsibility, and I hope I do justice to it. The answer to your question is upskilling. I feel that the teacher of today really needs to invest time, energy, and resources to ensure that they're able to do justice to the lives of the students who are sitting in that classroom. And the only way we can do that in the present time, when things are changing at such a fast pace, is if we keep up with the times and we keep on working on our own skills so that we're able to hone the skills of our students. So I really want teachers to focus on this task of nation building and really upgrade their own competencies so that they can build on the competencies of their students. And
It's just so true.
yeah, exactly. So that's how I would want them. That is the one area where I feel if we're able to do that, then everybody wins.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sonal, for being here and for being a
It
part
has
of
been a
this
pleasure.
very, very robust conversation. Nice meeting you.
Same here. Thank you, Tuhina.